All right, in today's video, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to make this render inside of Blender. Let's hop in right now. All right, when we hop into Blender, this is exactly what it looks like. And let me break down everything that I did to achieve this. Now, off the rip, you'll see this is not a functioning scene when it comes to other different angles. This was perfectly just made for the camera, or yeah, it was basically made for the camera. I wasn't going to go for anything else. This is basically what I wanted. I just wanted a cool ass render. Right. And obviously, like, it's still going to work. Like, you can zoom in and stuff. Like, it's obviously still going to kind of work. So that's the thing. So I can kind of add camera shake, add movement, all of that stuff that I need. And I don't have to kind of add all the stuff that I don't want. Okay. So let me actually just turn off my wireframe for now and we can hop into it. Now, basically, how I started this out was actually with the bridge and a quick little tip of something that's going to be very useful creating stuff like this. You'll see I basically use this all over on like all these little kind of steps like this, like the little da da da. You'll see kind of like on the different outsides over here, kind of all over. It's basically you can go Shift A, so whatever, like on any mesh, you can take an edge and bevel it like this, and then scroll up to add a couple more. So you see there, and then go custom over here. And you'll see basically I've done this over there, but I'll go reset this curve. You can I'll select the top one, change this to a point like this, select the bottom one, change it to a point. And then you can just start dragging around to kind of decide how many things you want. So if you only want 3 steps, you can go kind of in the middle like this. So go middle there, go like middle, something like that. And obviously you can mess around with it, get something that looks good. And depending on how you've done it, you might need one more edge like that. Okay, and you'll see there now whenever you go and bevel something else again, so if I just go like extrude something, or even if I just go grab this, you'll see I'll be able to just grab an edge and just go bam, go add a little bevel to it and just add a extra little bit of detail very quickly, which is really nice. Okay, that's something you're going to use a lot in something like this. Now, another thing you want to do is kind of start setting up stuff that I don't really use it that much, but set up stuff that you can kind of do modular and pull around your scene and duplicate multiple times. Bonus points if you can do the same object that looks different from different angles. So with these towers, if I had done them so that I had like a door here and then this side looked different, or even if I made a couple different variations of bits that I could kind of stack on top of each other, that would have been great. So I could make each one of these different like towers look different. And if you can just grab one and like it looks like this, and if you just rotate it, it looks completely different. That is going to be amazing and going to save you so much time. So I highly recommend you do something like that. So that's just a very good way to create different assets that can kind of be duplicated around. And you see even there, like this tower is here a lot. And if I made it like a bit better, I would be able to duplicate it in different places and use it more and be able to bigger scenes without having a lot of repetition. Okay, so like that. A lot of this is going down to like a lot of different arches and stuff. You can see like literally here. What I'll basically do is kind of have a square, like a cube. You can see these edges are also done with just the same bevel thing, same technique on there. And then I kind of just go front view, add in a circle, and then just delete half it, extrude it down, and then kind of merge them together. You see, that's just a very quick way of adding this. These top little bits is just literally a cube with a array modifier. I think I kind of merged them all together, just applied them. So basically, I would have just gone Shift A, add a cube. Where is this? So like this, and you'll see kind of there, go array. Okay, drag up the amount a little bit, and then just go set this to like 10 or something, and then just go duplicate it, R90, like that. You can select them, and if you actually have a cube that you place this on top of, so something like this, like there, um, obviously this would be below. And again, great thing to have is your snapping on, so you can see if I have like this, I can just go snap it. If I change this to closest, you can see I can just snap it on there, snap that, line it up there. Same thing on this corner. Let me just hide this one. You see that? Basically, what I do is set my 3D cursor, so Shift S, cursor to be selected. Take both of these, set my cursor, so just press the little, let me turn on screencast keys so you actually see what I'm doing. It should be on. There we go. So set my period key, go to 3D cursor, Shift D, RZ 180. There we go. And then select all 4 of them. And then I don't think I've lined it up correctly, but if you did it, go Control A, Visual Geometry to mesh, Control J to join them all together, and just go M by distance. And if I drag up this amount, just go something like, there you go. Now you can see merge those two together, and all the corners get filled in, and there we go. We just have this little bit. And then if you just start duplicating it before you apply your modifiers, then you're all good. And then just kind of parent it to the bottom bit. So I guess you can merge it, but I basically just went and parented them so I can move them around. But joining them will actually make sense because it basically just means you need less modifiers. You need to don't worry about it. And you don't have to worry about it when you duplicate it because you actually have to select both of them when you duplicate. Okay, cool. Those are the towers. Now, like this main little bit over here, basically these, I think I literally just took a circle. You see, this is basically, or actually, look up here. I could have even just taken, I guess, a circle. Where does this go? And I need, let me go place my cursor here. I'll go add a circle, set this to something like, I don't know, 16, RX 90. You'll see, so I get something like this. So I've got to go like delete there, and then I can just grab proportional editing. You can scale it up and down with your mouse, just scrolling like that, and then just get some sort of shape like there. Okay, and then just go extrude Y like that, and then we can select this, go extrude, and go Alt and S. Let me turn this off, Alt S. You can see it like that. Go delete that face, delete these two faces, and then grab like this, extrude and Y, and then I could just go array modifier and set this to 0, set that to 1, uh, set the Z to 1, I guess. What you do, go Control A, apply my rotation, and then the Y will work now. Okay, and you see like that. And then just create something simple like there, pretty quickly. Okay, and I for some reason actually changed smoothness. I'm not sure exactly why I did that, but I guess I did. Okay, now very similar things. You can see basically like this is just a cube where I beveled the sides and extruded these parts in. And then for here, I basically just went, you see, I added a horizontal loop cut, vertical loop cut. If you grab these two like that, Control B, let me set this back to 0. You can see me something like this. And then I'm just going to go, probably just go, I don't know, insert it, or should we just go grab insert or Control B bevel, grab these 3 or 4, 5, insert, and then just go extrude in like that. And you can see very quick and easy you can get something like that on there. Okay. Now, when it came to the flags, these were actually pretty simple to make, and I can basically show you. I probably applied all the modifiers. Yep. But basically, all you have to do is go grab a plane and go rotate this, and just go pull it out to whatever shape you want. Go probably add one so it's basically semi-cube looking, just so you kind of get equal amounts of quads, and then just go bump it up the subdivision, go apply this, so you get something like this. Then what you're going to do, just go select the left side like this, and then go to the, whatever these are, go click plus, and then just assign, name it if you want, just, it's called a pin group, and go to the collision, the physics tab, go turn on a cloth. Okay. In here, you can choose some things. Usually I go for cotton. Just use whatever those are default. And then go to pin group, turn on pin. And what we can do is if we go here, just go press play, and you'll see it starts generating like that. Okay. And depending, you can even just go unsubdivide, Control E unsubdivide, and you'll see that'll calculate a bit faster. But you see, I was running into this problem, and I'm not actually sure why. So let's just turn a clock on and off. Set this pin group again. So just go pin. Yeah, you see here, I'm not sure exactly why I was getting this. Let's go bump up the vertex mass. You see now it actually managed to collapse. You might have to just change that around a bit. So maybe turn self collisions on, I guess, recalculate. But yeah, so you see that kind of now actually clouds with itself. But yeah, so something like that, and then you can go Shift A, add in a force field, and add in a force. Okay, kind of just stick it off to the side, and then just bump up the strength. I think I have to do quite hard, so you have to go let's check 500, see if that works. Yeah, almost. Yeah, it's actually pretty close. Maybe even bump it to like 800, and might even just go pull it behind like that. Oh, that's it. 80. Go 800, like this, and you can see that now you can create some sort of flag looking thing like that. And if you want, you can even change it to go add a turbulence one. You see a turbulence. I don't know if it's even going to push it out, but you see like here. So we can actually change that there, and then you kind of have a better kind of thing like there. But you can kind of like combine different ones and kind of get something good. And basically, once you get some sort of good like shape, so say you're happy with something like this, we can go to our modifiers, apply this, go add in a decimate. Okay, just drag this value down. You can see there we create some sort of low poly thing. And then before you do this, just go to UV editing, select here, go U unwrap, and you see we get this like squared basically thing. Basically, you want to do that so that once we've decimated, we still have a squared off UV map, so we can apply our flag to it. But yeah, that's how you create the flags on there. All right, if you are interested in learning how to make environments and you want to learn how to make this environment, check the first description and you can grab the whole recording and the project files for all of this included. And yeah, go check it out there. Cheers. I'll see you. And you can see here, basically, basically went to like Photoshop, just made like a simple mask like this, and then had a simple shader setup. Okay, and for that shader setup, let's go check this to a shader editor. Literally all it is, have the image. So if we go check this black and white image, go to mix color or mix shader. This is the factor. You can set your two colors, plug into a base, principal BSDF, and there we go. We are good. Basically, that's all we needed. For the building, similar setup. Basically, all I wanted, object info will give you a random color based on each object. So you see like this. And then you can just plug into a color ramp so you can get slightly different shades on each building. Honestly, I didn't push it that much and didn't really do much, but you can do that. Then I used ambient occlusion like this. And you can add a multiply. So you see basically just plugged into the B slot. So probably put that underneath like that. And then you can use the factor to kind of increase it as you want. Just kind of makes it slightly more interesting. You can see like that. So without it, everything would be quite like flat. And if I bump it up, you can see each corner is kind of a bit darker. You can do it as a post-processing thing, but you can also do it in the materials, which is pretty cool. All right. Another thing I did was adding in these bricks. And the reason I did it, because if I start like hiding them, you'll notice that like the kind of just plain flat walls looked like kind of just a bit boring. Um, and it was also, again, a pretty simple thing to set up. And it was kind of my solution I came up with. And I think if you kind of think back to all the kind of painted kind of stuff, you'll see a lot of times in those kind of settings where they end up kind of adding these semi-painted bricks in. That looks pretty cool. And it's just a way of kind of saving time and just actually is a quite stylistic choice I quite like. So you see, this is what it looks like without it, and then this is what it looks like with it. So just that extra little bit of detail that, in my opinion, I really liked. Some people say they didn't like it, but I don't know, up to you. Like your thoughts are yours. But yeah, okay. And you can see from this angle, basically we have this big looking cloud in the background. Actually, when you go in render view, you don't see this little gap on the side. But yeah, so basically all I did for the scar is just a big image. And I think I just have a folder that I've downloaded from like Unsplash and all the different things of different clouds and scars and whatever. I really end up using this in many projects, but this time it actually worked. Literally a big plane in the background. And if you get an add-on called the copy like rotation or copy attributes add-on, you can select like the camera or select the object, select the camera, control C and copy rotation. Uh, so if I go take my camera and like rotate it off like wacky angle, you'll see a copy rotation. That doesn't work. I needed to do all the way around, copy rotation. You'll see, so it copies it like that. So cool, pretty cool add-on. Works quite well. And just a quick way of doing that. That's how the background's done. The lighting is just a HDRI like this. And I possibly also have a sun lamp. Let me check. Maybe not. Uh, no. Okay. The whole scene is actually just lit with a single HDR and just this background in the back. So you'll see here, without it, it'll obviously look quite weird like this. And then, so just to see how big of a difference that makes. And then the whole thing's lit like that. You could have just used a like sun lamp. So it goes add a sun like this, um, there, and then you kind of bump up the strength. So maybe like a 3, and then just bump up the angle like there. But even in this case, I'd probably still use a HDR, maybe 0.3 like that. So you see, basically you can create a more harsh light and change the color. So if you want to push it to like a more like warm, you can do that. And then you can get kind of control the shadows and highlights and the sun angle a bit more, which is a pretty good option as well. So let me just go back there. Works for me and it looks pretty good in my opinion. So all good. Okay, when it comes to the trees, basically it's a pretty simple workflow to get it. So you'll see here, it might be a little clue if you like look at it, kind of what I did. But basically, all you have to do, go and add in a plane like this. Go select everything, go M and merge at center. Cool. Then you can go to vertex select, just go extrude out like a shape like this. Basically, you're making the tree shape. So do whatever, and then like there. And then basically you got to make a 3D. So kind of just start doing like there. And then add some little like little bits that kind of poke out like this. So there, just some like little bits can help a little bit. Yeah, you can even just go to top view if you need and just kind of position them around. Okay, cool. Like there. Okay, all good. And then once you have something like this, you go to the modify tab and then just go add in a skin. Cool. Now to kind of actually change all the settings, you can go Alt. If you select bits, you can go Control A, I think. There we go. Control A can change the scale of all this. So there, so you can even go select, like if you go select the ends, you can turn on your proportional editing and you can see there, you can change it like throughout the bits like that, which is also pretty cool. And obviously you just go like scale down all these little bits like that. And there we go. So you can see you can create that shape or the base pretty easily and pretty quickly. Now, when it comes to the leaves, you can basically see they're just arcospheres. So I can just go Shift A, add a arcosphere, change the subdivisions to 1, and then just kind of bring it up. And you can either use proportional editing or just use the grab brush and then kind of just start moving around, get a good shape. Now, when it comes to the actual textures on it, similar thing to what we did before. You get an object info, plug the random into a color ramp. You can set a couple of different colors, get a print with BSDF, and we're good. And that generally gives us some random colors for each one. I think I have the exact same thing on this, which is basically just a plane that I have like decimated, subdivided, all of that fun stuff. And yeah, that is most of the models and materials done. Okay. Now, the actual cameras, renders, lighting, actually kind of lighting, but yeah, renders and compositing. Now, when it comes to the camera, obviously I'm rendering in cycles, and you can see I basically just use 100 samples. You never really have to go higher than that. Mainly wanted to get this done for like a YouTube video, so 19 by 20, that's just default 1080p, and we get only thing that I turn on is the ambient occlusion in my render layers, but that's just kind of a personal preference, and I didn't actually really use it, I think. But yeah, the camera. So if we go camera here, you can see I changed this. I'm not using perspective, so I'm not using like a 35mm, whatever. I'm not using the default thing. I'm using the panoramic and change it to fisheye equisolid. And you can see it kind of gives you like a little bit of a curve and like a distortion on it. And you can see, so usually by default, I think when you change to fisheye equisolid, it does a 10, which is super wide, obviously. But this is basically going to be a similar to a camera's focal length. So if you're going to do a 35mm, it's going to be like that. If you're going to do like 80mm, you'll see it like there. And then you're not going to get super distorted edges, but it'll be there slightly. But obviously I wanted this kind of distorted look, so I did the 35, and that's kind of what I did for the camera. And if I just go also down, obviously a little bit of depth of field. Uh, depth of field is weird, especially at this wide 35mm. So I have to drop my f-stop to 0.1, and I have a empty somewhere in my scene called camera focus. You see it's basically focusing on this little bit over here. And that's kind of how this is set up. Okay, and let me just quickly render this out. Okay, and you can see this is what my render looks like straight out of the box. Actually, I say that, but this is with some compositing on it. All right, so I'm going to go back to compositing and change this to a compositor, pull this up, and then we got this good. So basically over here, you can see this is the nodes I have. So if I turn these off, you'll see obviously that's the raw render like this, and we can walk through everything that is happening here. So firstly, lens distortion. I just put on a little bit of extra distortion, so you can see just a little bit there, and then dispersion, which you can see. So it's this little like blue line, red line, all of that stuff. Camera. I can't remember actually what it's called. I don't know, but yeah, so you see basically just adds a little thing with the corners. Probably not the most fitting for the render, but I think it just looks pretty cool. Okay. And they set fit because basically when you do the camera distortion, you'll get this kind of thing on the edges. So you go fit, and then that doesn't happen. Okay. Next is bloom. And basically you see I have to change my threshold to like quite low. So if I set this to 1, you'll see now it's actually back to normal. Whereas it doesn't, like if you set it to 1, it doesn't actually hit these because they're not very bright. They're not very like highlights. So if I drag this down to something low, you can see now it actually hits those bits, and you can see that's actually, this is everywhere. If you change your mix, you see this is actually the glow bits. Okay, so I just changed my mix like that. So mix also I kind of changed to like negative 0.8, so it's not super like bright on everything. Okay, then a little bit of contrast like that. You see just a little bit extra kind of thing. A little bit of color balance. This actually is if I'm not going to push it out to anywhere else. It's not the cleanest of color balance, but it's fun. And then some RGB curves. So actually, as I run with this color balance, this is basically just more contrast. I don't think I did anything to other colors. But you see, basically, this is what I exported to actually edit somewhere else inside of Lightroom. But you could get away with a image like this. The colors aren't amazing, but I'll show you what I did inside of Lightroom. Okay, so this is the final image inside of Lightroom, and I can show you everything I did. So this is the before and after here, and you can see that actually is quite a lot better. Cool. So as a general thumb, when I'm doing the edits in Lightroom, I drop the highlights, raise the shadows, drop the whites, raise the blacks, and you'll see that basically like makes it super like de-contrasted. No idea why we don't use contrast, but basically like I think you can kind of change it depending on the render. So if I need my whites to go up, I can change it. I can change my highlights if I want. I can kind of change it independent of each other depending on how I kind of want it. So basically just copy and paste it and then change it as I need for each photo. Okay, then bump up the texture like this. Clarity is actually down. I can actually be able to do that because I added a lot of sharpening with like the Photoshop or Lightroom sharpening and dehaze. Dehaze, so you see if I can default this like this. If I drag this down, it kind of like lightens up. It basically adds kind of like a bit of similar to that bloom or that glare that I added. Kind of similar setting there. Obviously, but bumped up my vibrance a lot to get this kind of look. I quite liked it. Okay, yeah, basically just add some simple S curves. And then one thing is like I kind of do this, which basically kind of fades out the some of the shadows. It just looks quite cool. Okay, colors. I basically copied it from somewhere else. You can see how much this actually affects it. Doesn't do too much. I basically just kind of selectively changing some of the colors. Like this green's too strong. So you see here, drop the saturation and did the hue a little bit. So just the default kind of made it a bit more yellowy. Um, you see, so some of the blues have changed. So if you want, like this is basically all done. The reds, I've kind of whacked them around a lot, but I think that's mainly for the flags. Um, Orange, same thing, kind of for the trees, the flags, some of these little shadows over here. Yellow, similar thing. Green, I already showed you. Blue, blue. Okay. This color grading over here, this is kind of what changes. You see it's quite, has some like really weird red shades. So in the shadows, I kind of pushed up all the midtones. You see I have this blue kind of pushed in. For the shadows, I have this kind of green look. So you see there in the corners, when I bump that up, it kind of, you can see it. And in the highlights, I have this like slightly yellow kind of pushed in like that. And what you can do is you can also check to kind of see how much these affect or what they kind of look like. If you kind of just move around like that, you can just grab the outer and see kind of, if I made the shadows like red, what it looked like. If I made them blue, green, all of that stuff. But yeah, that's what I did. And I bump up the balance. So you see like it changed it quite a lot, kind of smooth it out between them. Okay, as I was saying, sharpening, you can see like the default image, I think it's also because I dropped my clarity. Um, but like it just doesn't feel, it kind of feels slightly blurry. And if I just bump up my sharpening, you see, you kind of get that back. Like you don't want to push too far or it looks too sharp, but something like that, it looks good in my opinion. Okay. And then last thing is a vignette. So you see basically like by default, like you can see those corners are just way too bright, especially with this. So you see, just drag it down slightly, midpoint, you kind of set where you want it. And then the roundness, so if it's like kind of a oval circle, yeah. And then a little bit of grain, so it just looks quite good to kind of add some grain into here. So you'll see like before and after, um, like it just kind of makes it look like kind of cool. That kind of whole film look and whatever. But yeah, that is my whole compositing inside Lightroom, and the whole render is done. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want more, check out this video in the top left. Now, if you haven't grabbed it already, go check out the first link in the description and you can get the files and the whole recording of this environment so you can create it for yourself. Go check that out first in the description and yeah, enjoy. If you want another video, go click the top left. I'll see you there.